It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Come on, I bet you don't know who that is.
I don't know.
It's Sly and the Family Stone from the early 1970s.
I only know Sly Stallone.
Hey, what are you talking about? I can't do him. I tried to do him,
That's not
and
him.
it failed
You were about
miserably.
What are you talking about, Willis? You did Gary Coleman.
I was trying to do him. What are you talking about, Willis?
Anyway.
You can do Mr. T.
No,
No,
Hey,
stop
boy.
it now.
Okay, that's
my cute nose jeans.
that's enough
That's
now.
going to be edited out.
I'm editing all of this out. Okay, shall I kick us off?
I think you should do.
Okay, welcome everyone to another episode of My Dad versus World Cinema.
Thank you.
This is I wasn't welcoming you.
I'm happy to be here.
Here's the thing, right? If you're a guest on the show, do not speak until I mention you, because I am in charge here. Okay.
And I got admonished in the first episode for doing that.
You did, and I'm here with the lollipop mic,
and I'm the talent.
Oh no, you don't have an ounce of talent in you. Oh, sorry. No, I can't be mean to you anymore, can I?
No, because wait a minute. I've got a good friend called Barry.
Wait, we're going to come on to that later. Let me introduce you, okay? So my name is Amelia Coen.
I'm Philip Coen, his dad.
Yeah, so you are my partner usually on this podcast.
Yes.
And we're joined by a special guest. Who are you?
I'm Amelia Coen.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is my sister and your daughter.
Correct.
We decided we needed to bring some reinforcements in for this episode.
Female.
Yeah, we needed a female perspective.
Yeah.
Dad was providing half of a female perspective, but we wanted a full one.
From
I was channeling Emily Pankhurst.
Yes,
but that wasn't good enough.
No, it wasn't. So we're going to be talking about another gem of world cinema today.
Wow, this is strange. This movie.
It is. We haven't even said what the movie is. The movie is Hausu or House.
House. No, it's House.
Yeah, but in Japanese it's Hausu.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. We do have it in the background for all the video watchers here today, don't we?
Yeah, slightly in a different position.
Yeah,
because Elliot is in the way.
I'm not in the way, but we've been trying to fit all of us around one table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So before we get on to talking about House, though, because it is a good one to talk about, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is a very good one to talk about.
Let's check in with you. How are you doing?
I'm very good. Actually, I've been very busy this week.
Yeah.
And if you see me reaching for my phone, there's a reason.
Who is that?
Our friend Harvey.
Harvey?
You know Weinstein.
Oh, he's not our friend.
Well, no, he isn't our friend. But I say that in a comical, light-hearted way. While we're recording this, at any minute, his verdict might come through.
Oh, really?
And that then decides whether or not I have to bake that cake and put the file in it, so he can chisel his way out.
Just to clarify to people, we are not friends.
We do not associate.
No, we do not. And any opinions in this podcast are not our own.
Any resemblance to anybody, either alive or dead, either factual or fictional, is purely coincidental.
Exactly.
That's what we like to say.
Yeah.
And that's what our lawyers have said to say.
Yeah. Anyway, that's enough from you. How are you, Amelia?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah?
I'm very happy to be here.
How does it feel to be on here?
It feels great. I mean, I've heard lots about it. I've heard the podcast is going very well.
Yeah.
And so any opportunity to get involved, I thought.
Okay, that's your fee. You've earned your fee.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, just give it a check. You're
just
fine.
Say that.
Yeah. So why have you decided to join us?
Well, I've never actually seen any world cinema in my life at all.
Really?
And I've recently got very into film.
Yeah, you have, because I'll say that, a few years ago, you would barely even watch any film.
Yeah, I struggled with film.
Yeah.
But
what was it? Was it an attention thing?
Yeah, I think I think it's all down to like Netflix that I can now comfortably watch a film because I can sort of watch it in my own time, whereas I never used to go to the cinema because I'd just be so worried that I'd get so bored and restless. But I've overcome that from watching loads of films, lots of your suggestions, and I just wanted to broaden the pot, really.
Broaden the pot. Broaden the pot is broaden the pot.
And I think it's important to say that when she didn't watch a lot of world cinema, because obviously when we had her locked under the stairs for her being naughty as a
Harry
child,
Potter.
that meant she didn't get to watch anything.
Exactly.
No, so I just read books.
Yeah.
And that's why she's dead intelligent
But
compared to us. She is.
Well, anyone is
You'll see
compared
on this podcast I'm not.
But I proposed to you. No,
You proposed to me.
Don't say that. We're not in Utah.
Hey, that's insulting our listeners
No,
in
it
Utah.
isn't. It's just saying it's legal in Utah, but it isn't in the UK.
I don't think it is legal. No, I didn't propose to you. No, I proposed that we would watch a film.
Yeah.
And I even showed you the trailer for House.
And I was sold.
You were sold right away.
Right away. Right up my street.
Can I just say something, Amelia? He has a master plan.
Yeah. He's
do you know
indoctrinating me.
Do you know what it is? He watched an episode recently of At Home with the Kardashians, and he reckons that you could be our Kyle Jenner.
Kyle.
Is it Kylie? What's her name?
Kyle's lip kit.
Yeah,
It's Kylie.
Kylie. It's on here.
Kyle.
But I reckon, because what's going to happen is obviously we'll have sown the seeds with this podcast, and then you're the one that'll make the money.
Off film reviews, yeah.
Correct. And then we'll be...
I'll steal your audience.
Yeah, and then what we'll be doing is people will walk past us in the street, won't they? And they'll see us on the pavement and say, "Weren't those two on a podcast once?"
Yeah, I guess they will.
Yeah.
And they'll say, "Yeah, that's where the daughter and the
like
sister."
Mortimer and
Yes,
Randall
Oh, do you know
Randy and
what?
Mortimer?
Can I just say something? I'm very proud of you to mention one of my all-time favourite films,
Yeah.
Trading Places.
And Coming to America as well. They're in that as well.
They are?
Cameo appearance. See, I do watch films.
I think you know a little bit more about film than you let on.
Exactly. No, she's been doing her research
Yeah,
before coming on here.
I have.
Yeah.
My homework.
So anyway, we watched the film.
Yeah. But before we get into the film though, you had some comments that you wanted to talk about from our listeners, didn't you?
Well, I had a very nice comment from one of our commenters who said that I looked a little bit like Michael Winner, the film director.
Yeah.
Shall I do the voice?
Go on, do the voice.
No, all I can do if you're in the UK and you're watching or listening to this, you'll remember that Michael Winner was famous for his cameo in a commercial about car insurance.
Yeah.
And somebody would have a crash and he goes, "Calm down, it's only a commercial."
Yeah.
Which is really strange because in the UK we don't call them commercials, do we?
No.
We call them adverts.
Or my mum used to call them advertisements.
Those were the days.
She was very formal though, wasn't she?
She was. God, I remember having to get dressed up to get smacked.
What? Okay.
She used to get me dressed up in my finest clothes, and then she'd
a
smack
Sailor
me.
Boy's outfit.
And then she'd smack me.
Oh, I don't want to know about you getting dressed up and getting smacked.
Actually, that Sailor Boy outfit, I think I've
That's
still
a
got it.
different film.
I'd be big in I'd be big in Japan. Well, I'm big anywhere anyhow, but in Japan in particular, because they like that nautical.
If you say that naughty, that naughtiness.
Wait a minute. You've been in Japan twice.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
And did you notice people when they walked around in Japan? They wear some really exotic costumes.
They do. Yeah, there is a nautical theme. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there really?
Sailor Moon. I think there's an anime that.
See, I feel like we're making general comments about
We
things that we have
probably
no idea about.
Oh no! Wait a minute. We haven't, but she's been to Japan twice.
You made the comment.
What?
He did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He made the
but
comment.
that was
Exactly.
about me dressing up as a sailor.
Yeah, but then you said, "Oh, it's big in Japan to dress like a sailor."
Well, it is if you're a sailor.
Oh God! I mean,
Anyway,
we are talking about a Japanese film anyway.
Wait a minute. I
today.
think we've got so back to the film.
You've
Yeah.
got a comment to read.
So yeah, I'm going to read some comments that were left on our last podcast because we talked about Diabolique,
Diabolique.
the French film. You don't need to say it like that. We had a comment from Thomas Wilk. I think Thomas left one.
Tom's
for us.
Tom's one of my faves. Go on.
I really like Thomas. He said, when you and your dad get famous, we will be watching episodes called My Dad versus World Cinema, The Early Years.
See there? I think we can copyright that and we'll cut him into the... that's very nice.
Yeah, they'll be showing that on the Hallmark channel, won't they?
Yeah.
The Early Years. It'll be like a Ken Burns documentary.
Yeah, Ken Burns.
Let's see some other comments. Our friend Hallgeir Olsen, Hallgeir left a comment talking about how when he was younger in the 90s in Western Norway, he used to go to a film club. He used to put on films for people, and he showed Diabolique to that group.
Excellent.
Which I found quite interesting. And he said he then showed them the 1996 American remake, and everyone much preferred the remake.
Oh,
I know.
Sacrilege.
I know, yeah. But he said that was people at the time, they wanted newer films.
yeah, maybe that's a bit like The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan in the 90s.
What about it?
Well, they did a remake and everyone prefers that.
Yeah, compared to the original,
What
which had
There's one from like the 70s or the 60s.
Hayley Mills.
Heather Mills.
Yeah.
I think.
Hayley Mills.
Sorry, I'm just going to
Heather Mills is the one with
Thank you.
that was the lady that got married to Paul McCartney. Heather Mills. Hayley Mills. You're right, Hayley Mills.
Right. Anyway, off of that tangent. And yeah, there were just lots of people saying, they enjoyed the podcast.
And thank you. No, we really do. I'm just grateful for any positive comments about my life in general.
Hey, look, I'm going to start giving you more positive comments.
Yeah.
More than
Can you give me money as well?
More than zero.
I'd like some positive money, please.
No.
By the way, Amelia.
Why do you think I've got money?
Actually, we have to make Amelia, unfortunately, at this point in time. Have you watched all of the podcasts?
No, I have not.
You know when we were doling that money out after my mother passed away?
I've seen that bit.
So do you know that part of your inheritance is
on that wall, yes.
But it was a worthwhile investment.
Yeah. I'll get it back though, right?
Anyway, let's get on to talking about Hausu. So, where do we start? This is the difficult thing.
And of course, our format being that we have a general chat.
Yes.
And then we get a bit spoiler. Somebody has actually said I can do the duck.
Yeah, we had a thing where...
What?
The duck noise.
No, Dad's going to do a duck noise.
Actually, I thought it was a submarine.
What?
I think it's...
The whole point of a submarine is it's not meant to make a noise.
Yeah, but
it's meant to go...
but when you're in the submarine...
This is a...
Right, okay. I'll allow you to do a duck noise when we get into spoiler territory.
Okay.
Okay, so...
La 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 la. That's me just tuning up.
I'm not sure it would actually spoil much though.
Well,
because
exactly. This is quite...
It's hard to make sense.
This is quite hard. Quite hard film to
I'm
spoil.
sat here thinking, what can we talk about that I can remember? Well, actually, it was very good.
I'm going to jog your memory on these, okay?
Okay.
Before we get into the chat, though, let's just say that if you're listening or you're watching, do get in touch with us and let us know what you think of House. And I guess you can say what you think of us as well, as long as it's nice
and positive.
Yeah. But yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts about House.
By the way, my fan club opens next week.
No, it doesn't.
It's a thought, though.
You're just trying to get money out of people.
I'm not trying to get money out of people. Seriously.
Why is there?
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Why is there a $50?
You wouldn't let me drink anything tonight.
Why?
We actually had before. This is
not. This is
I think it is. I think it's behind the scenes.
No. We've only got 58 minutes to do this.
You think we can speak for 58 minutes on the Hausu?
Well, I'd like to at least try.
Oh, right. Okay. Let's just get into it.
Okay, let's go.
So what we want to do is we want to say to people, suggest why this is a film worth seeing. For someone that's maybe not as initiated in world cinema as myself. So, Amelia.
Yeah.
How would you describe this film without spoilers? To someone that, if someone's never seen it, so imagine that you are you.
Yeah.
From 5 days ago when I told you, right, we're going to watch this film. How would you describe this film to yourself?
I would describe it as very peculiar and idiosyncratic. And also, and I know this probably won't really work as a reference because it's probably before then, but also quite Lynchian as well. And if anyone knows me, they know that I'm a big David Lynch fan.
I guess
big Twin Peaks fan.
I guess it's kind of like David Lynch in that it just goes off
and
just does what it wants.
Yeah, it's transcendental. And And the visuals
See,
are
that's too
Wait a
big.
minute, wait.
big words.
You cannot use a word like that on this podcast.
By the way, I've just got a dictionary underneath the bed. I'm now going to be looking. What's your transcendental industry?
As in there's a lot of floating faces.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I can see that comparison.
And the use of video, which I thought was quite clever for the time.
Yeah. Well, what we'll say about the video. Well, should we explain what the film's actually about?
Yeah.
I'll let you do that.
Okay. Why did I say that?
The premise, like the plot.
So the plot of the film is it's about this bunch of schoolgirls in Japan, and they end up going to a house where one of the main girl, Angel, her auntie lives there. And so she's going to visit her auntie with all of her friends, and weirdly enough, with one of her school teachers, one of her male school teachers. And when they get to the house, things are not as you'd expect.
Seem,
yeah.
It's kind of like
the end.
It's kind of like a horror film, but also it is a very funny film as well. And I think it's meant to be. I think it's like a mixture of like horror comedy.
Here's a big word for you: pastiche. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
So you do think it was intentional, like a lot of the...
I think so. Perhaps not, because it wasn't like farcical or anything.
No,
but it was just so strange to the point that it broke away from the horror of it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if there wasn't these really strange sequences or these really strange moments and the really quirky editing, it would just be quite a scary film.
No, definitely. Yeah. Two of my friends, they mentioned on Instagram, Kevin Dean, if you're listening, Dean mentioned that they both watched House and were laughing the whole way through.
Yeah, I mean,
like
we were. Literally everything.
Yeah. But it's interesting that it's hard to know whether that was the full intention.
Yeah. I reckon it.
What do you think? You're keeping very quiet on this.
I thought, well, I'll give you my my thoughts.
You weren't really laughing that much, though.
I wasn't.
I think he was a bit...
Were you a bit uncomfortable?
Disturbed.
Well, I'm that most of the time. But I sat there and watched it. And what happened, I kept getting flashbacks of references from other films. So it opens up at the beginning.
Like Rocky Horror was what you said, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, a bit, but it opened up at the beginning, and the school looked like the school from Greece. And it had that sort of Americana feel to it.
Yeah.
And all the schoolgirls and the music that was playing in the back. So now we did check the date because it was 1977, so it predated Greece. So maybe Greece was influenced by that.
Yeah, maybe it inspired John Travolta.
No, it didn't. But it was real Americana, and then the way they use sets, instead for landscapes and whatever. So there was a piece of that, and then the other thing which struck me all the way through is they used music in a way that Brian De Palma has used music in the past. For instance, in
Dressed to Kill.
Dressed to Kill. And Carrie, and so very much where you had a piece of music which was very soft and flowing over a very quite dramatic piece.
Yeah. I think the music was actually one of my favourite things about it. It was pretty much the same song the whole way through, but it was quite captivating.
And particularly because one character in the film has her own
Kung
theme.
Fu.
So her name is Kung Fu, and every time she would do something,
that music would play.
Yeah.
You love that music.
Yeah.
I think you could be Kung Fu.
Thank you.
I think you could be. And am I Angel?
No, you're Mac, the one that
Mac.
eats everything.
Yeah,
that gets killed straight away.
Oh, you
First one to die.
Why are you saying I'm Mac when Dad's clearly Mac? Oh no, I'm being horrible again.
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm sorry. I have people out there watching for me.
I think you're Melody.
The one that plays the piano.
Yeah.
The artistic one.
You're
Prof.
No, not Prof. Fantasy. The one that worries about everything and goes off in little fantasies and gets terrified by everything.
Yeah.
So I think we might be. Shall we talk about? Shall we do a spoiler?
Well, see, the thing is,
What do you mean by spoilers? Like,
by spoilers, we usually mean plot spoiler.
so if
So
I
even saying something like "there's a twist," I count that as a spoiler because then you're watching the film looking out for.
but we can talk about, like, there's a few moments that I really liked that I'd like to talk about. Am I allowed to talk about?
You
Yeah.
will be once I've done the
Sorry.
duck noise.
But
Yeah.
are they spoilers?
Yeah, there will be.
Well, I'm trying to think. As long as you're not spoiling where the story goes and what the ending is.
No, I don't think so.
No.
So, but I think we'll do those after I've done the duck. Please let me do the duck
Okay,
noise.
but you're not doing the duck noise right now, are you?
Okay.
No, because what we need to do is we still need to talk to people and say, like, if you've not watched House, this is why you should
So
watch
shall I
it.
give you my reason?
Go on. What's your reason? Because
Of all the films I've seen up to now,
Yeah.
I think I will see. This is a film that you've got to see to work out where Japanese cinema in the avant-garde part of Japanese cinema was in the late 70s, and their use of sets and their use of technology in the video technology. And it was wacky. It was crazy.
yeah,
It was.
it's a unique film.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
I can't think of anything that's like it.
So you watch it because then you've got a benchmark for comparing other things
Yeah.
against.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it was, for me, as someone that, like I said, I'd never seen any world cinema before. I think I'd only ever seen one film that had subtitles, which was a film called Asterix
Was
and
it-
Obelix,
Oh.
which was in our French lesson.
I thought you were going to say Star Wars when
No.
Jabba the Hutt speaks.
Well,
that doesn't count.
And so I had never seen a film with subtitles, and for me it was a great one to start with because it was so strange that it just threw you into the deep
See,
end.
that's a good thing. Yeah.
So like it was, and it really was worth watching as well.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I did it.
No, that's good. Like, I would say that it's worth watching because what you've both said, it's just so unique. And actually the technology used in it would have been amazing for the time. You've got to remember that 1977 was the year that Star Wars came out.
And that's shit.
No,
At this moment in time, there's been. Did you feel that in the Force?
there's like a million voices cried out and were instantly silenced.
I am your father. The only reason I said that is
That's
her
you
lack.
actually are.
Her lack. Her lack of what to call it.
her
is-
lack of faith is. I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Don't get cocky, kid.
Oh,
I've seen the film.
this is film club, not Fight Club.
Misa Jar Jar Binks. But no, it came out the same year as the first Star Wars, and that was revolutionary for effects. But I think some of these effects, if you saw it in the original Star Wars, you wouldn't be
Yeah.
like, that looks crap.
Yeah, there's a
No.
lot of video and
A lot-
chroma key.
Yeah, rotoscoping. That's the same thing, isn't it? It was basically, this is before green screen, but this
Yeah,
is
because chroma key was, I think, before.
yeah, but this is basically proto green screening, isn't it?
If you say so. Who am I to disagree?
Yeah.
So I think watch it.
Okay.
That's an order. Watch it.
Or else.
Yeah. So shall we get into spoilers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Go on, do it.
No, I can't now. I feel
Oh
silly
my
doing it.
God.
Goodness.
You've been talking about it so
I
much.
know, but now that
You've
I've got to do it,
overhyped it.
now that I've got to do it,
Do you
Right.
want me to do it?
You do something. Go on.
A duck noise.
Do whatever.
Wah, wah.
Okay, that was ear piercing.
yeah, people have now turned off.
For many people, that was the last thing they'll ever hear.
They're gone.
I've just seen 4 dogs scurrying down the street,
Oh,
and the alarm's gone off across the road.
yeah. So we're going to talk about spoilers. I mean, like we said before, though, there's not much you can actually
Spoil, no, there isn't.
So, Amelia, what were your favourite scene?
So
yeah, favorite scene.
my favourite scene, it's not really a scene, it's just a very short part of the film, was when they sit down for dinner and they're sitting down with the auntie, and the one I mentioned before, Fantasy, which is the one that I said you were like,
yeah.
because you worry, and she's a really big worrier and she goes off on her fantasies. She thinks that she sees the auntie eating. Well, I think it's meant to be like an egg or something. I don't know, or a bit of sushi. But it turns into an eyeball in her mouth, and she sort of like puts it on her tongue like that, and then like no one else sees, and she like whips it back in. And I just thought that was really cool. And it was just so like sly about how she did it as well.
Then she sticks the eyeball out again, and she moves her eyes, and the eyeball moves the same way.
Like that.
By the way,
Just like that.
I think we should do an audio description for those listening.
Oh yeah, so the audio description of that is imagine you've got an eyeball that's moving from left to right, but it's in your mouth.
No, I mean Amelia. Audio description. What Amelia's doing?
I don't know how you describe.
She's got her tongue stuck out, waving.
She looks like
she
looks like an idiot, basically.
I'm the idiot in this family.
I think we're all idiots. Yeah. We can all be idiots. What was your favourite scene in the film?
I think my favourite scene was towards the end when.
Don't say the credits.
Oh, that's
don't be
that.
Don't be that.
What was that?
person.
END Finn or whatever. No, I thought the bit where the room suddenly everything started floating around in the room and the use of chroma key. That was the same film we were watching.
That was just the whole film.
Everything. Oh, another.
What do you mean at the end when like all the water starts?
Wait a minute, when the bloke was turned into bananas.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine hearing this out of context? You'd be like, "What is this film about?"
And another moment with the teacher where he falls down the stairs, but what would that be? Stop motion that they're using?
No,
and he's got like a bucket stuck to his bum.
Well, actually, it was stop motion, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they do this really strange stop motion sequence where he's like jumping about.
You said that he looked like my dad.
Yeah,
your grandfather.
He looks nothing like him.
No, but I think you were throwing it was the sideburns.
Sideburns. I mean, it was the 70s though, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was fashionable.
Yeah.
Would Grandad have had sideburns before the 70s?
Which granddads? How many granddads?
What would?
I said, would Grandad have had sideburns before the 70s?
No.
So he took on that fashion.
He was influenced by Hausu.
He was influenced by Jason King, which is another cultural reference, which is a TV show. But I hasten to add that you have to also. I got stopped a couple of times, not by the police. I got stopped when I used to use the word sideboards, which
Why? That's wrong, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it is correct to say sideburns, but some people colloquially say sideboards.
No, because a sideboard is a piece of furniture.
Amelia's looking quizzical.
It's what you have next to your. It's what you have next to your bed, isn't it?
No, a sideboard. You have one in like
you put fruit on.
You have it in your dining room. You put your crockery and you.
Yes. You put your plates and
put your candle and your.
Your pentagram.
Your pentagram. Yeah. You put your ashes.
Yeah.
But how did we get onto that again?
I don't know.
Back to Hausu.
Search me.
Yeah.
Elliot? What was your favourite part of the film?
I do really like. It's actually early on in the film when that song first plays, the pop song, and this was a pop song which I think must have been tied into the film.
Was it?
But the pop song's in English, isn't it?
Oh, and and they're walking through the. They're walking like to the house through the field.
Yeah,
and it's very like.
It sounds like maybe the Monkees or something. Yeah. You know, there's a song in there like the Monkees or like a crap Beatles rip off or something.
There's no such thing as a crap Beatles song.
No, I said a crap Beatles rip off.
There you go. Just in case Paul McCartney, Sir Paul, or Sir Ringo are watching.
You mean Sir Paul's replacement.
Do you know I had a friend who wrote a book about that?
Oh gosh.
No, I did.
I don't want to get contacted by the FBI or the Illuminati, so I want to avoid this subject.
To be honest, at this point, I'll do anything for listeners and viewers. If that means
Shall we turn this into a conspiracy podcast?
If that means we'll get the FBI listening,
conspiracy podcast. What we should do is try and connect up films or things we're talking about, and put some sort of natural sequence between them.
Okay, like what?
Aliens and UFOs.
Oh, you love talking about aliens.
I do. That's my favourite subject.
Would you show Hausu to an alien?
He'd probably understand it.
Yeah. I understand it.
I am an alien.
It's not a complicated film to understand, is it?
No.
No, it's not.
It's just all over the place.
It wasn't
A bit like this podcast.
It wasn't
Oh, yeah.
nonsensical.
No, it wasn't.
It was just
Like, it follows a plot.
it was just stylized.
I mean, we're in spoiler territory now, so it's essentially one of those horror films where it's like a haunted house and the people are getting picked off one by one.
And eaten.
Mm.
Mm.
And I like the scene at the end where the new stepmother.
Yeah.
We're still
You
here.
liked
We're still
the
live.
stepmother.
Well, yeah, you just finished your half your
I
sentence,
was waiting for you to jump in and interrupt me.
like usual.
Mm.
But at the end, the stepmother who arrives because she thinks obviously her stepdaughter's welcoming her in.
Hmm.
Couldn't get that out then in one piece. And obviously it isn't really her stepdaughter, is
No,
it?
No.
it's the spirit of. I mean,
Of the
am I allowed to say?
Oh, yeah,
the
we're-
whole thing of the
we're
film.
in spoiler territory.
Okay,
Say what you want.
Big spoiler, is that the auntie is not the auntie. It's the spirit of unmarried women, basically.
What?
And who wants?
that-
They want to meet.
Wait a minute.
She wants to eat all unmarried, like alive unmarried women of marrying age.
That's to give her power, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Oh, right,
it's
okay.
because she
Yeah.
didn't. It's because the auntie was engaged to a man, but then he was killed in the war,
Oh yes.
and so she died like years later.
Mm.
But her spirit lingered on because she was so bitter about not being able
And
to.
she was waiting for him to return.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
now she eats all young women of marriable age.
There was some strange footage that was intercut, wasn't there, of like footage from the war and then also
Yeah.
nuclear.
blasts. I think it was World War II.
Yeah.
Like Hiroshima.
But here would be a disturbing point because she obviously ate all the girls in the village.
Mm.
Can you imagine if you were wandering past and you were about 25, 26
Mm.
and you knocked on the door and you're a person that's still quite optimistic about meeting someone.
Yeah.
Mm.
You knock on the door and she doesn't want to eat you because as far as she's concerned, you're on the shelf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Never
gonna
you're
meet
not
anyone?
getting married. You're not of marriable age anymore.
No.
Correct.
Gosh, you'd be devastated.
You'd be gutted. You just want her to eat you, don't you?
Yeah.
Correct.
Why are you sighing?
I'm just thinking we'll get loads of if we had a letterbox we could put letters through.
Yeah.
We might get
Yeah.
complaints about
Or
that.
they might post poo through it.
Yeah. Set it on fire.
Actually, wait a minute. Didn't we get? You didn't post that poo through years ago through our door, did you?
No, what?
Did you actually?
Did that
that
actually
I
happen?
did. I'm only making it up.
It was Dad.
So what?
Yeah.
So what would we think this genre? Can we tie this into a genre?
No, I don't think so. I think,
No.
well, the closest thing is to horror, I'd say. Because it follows the story of a horror
Yeah.
film. And then there are bits which are a bit gory, a bit scary.
Yeah, a bit like slashery
Exactly,
And
yeah.
comic overtones.
overtones.
Yes.
But also, I don't think it's a film that needs to be categorized.
No.
Not that films do, but some are quite easily
Mm.
done. But this one, I'm quite satisfied not really knowing what it was.
And I think wrongly people categorize this film as one of those so bad it's good kind
Oh,
of films.
absolutely not.
It's not one of
No,
those.
I don't think it. I don't think. I thought it was a good film.
Yeah.
I think it's just. I mean, like we said, it might seem a bit outdated now, but at its time,
And it's not a Plan B from outer space.
No, it's not. Definitely not. Go on, tell the audience what Plan B from Outer Space is if
It's
they don't
a
know.
famous
I
film
don't
from the
know.
1950s, was it, or 60s? 50s.
It was made by Ed Wood.
Ed Wood, who later
and Woody.
Ed might have done, but later on a film was made about Ed Wood.
Yeah, by Tim Burton with Johnny Depp. He played Ed Wood.
Wood and timber.
Oh,
That is just that was just made to me,
Timber.
wasn't it?
Hello.
Yeah, you see, this is a new dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're bringing actual
Witticism.
I'm bringing all the comics.
actual comedy.
Witticism and satire.
Yeah.
It's a new
I
dimension.
don't think that was
I don't think
satire.
it's satire.
Oh, where do we go from here?
Well, I think. Oh, I tell you what, I was thinking the other day. Genre of film. What do we think is going to be the next big genre of film? You know how Hollywood.
Does film go by genre and trends, or
Well,
is it more?
I mean, I think genres are just a way to label a film.
No, but
I don't think people go, right, I'm going to make a sci-fi film. Because a sci-fi film, you know, you could consider Star Wars sci-fi, Alien. You could consider Children of Men sci-fi.
Well, this is a good thing because
And they're all kind of
years ago, when there was a very successful film, Hollywood tended to then every studio
milk it.
Yeah. So, for instance, when Star Wars came out and was a success, then you had Paramount dusting down the script for Star Trek, and then making that. You had Buck Rogers, which was a TV series.
Flash Gordon, they did.
Flash Gordon. So there was a whole space-related piece. But come to think of it, you don't see that now. I tell you what I was thinking the other day, which you don't see much of these days. Films about nuns.
We don't have enough of those.
Look, if you look hard enough, you can find
Black
them.
Narcissus.
Black Narcissus. Well, that's a good one. Have you seen
The Sister Act, Madeline or Madeleine?
No, but I mean, like, yeah. Well, there's a few, but I want somebody to make a spectacular remake of the Nun story.
I want a remake of Madeline.
Do you know?
I'll be Madeline.
Do you know there is a subgenre of exploitation films called nunsploitation?
Really?
You know how like there's blaxploitation,
So there's
like
nuns.
Jackie Brown.
like Jackie Brown or like
And
Foxy Brown.
Can I ask you a question? Why aren't we buying those films and watching them?
I have some of them. I do. They're not like dirty
Are they
films. They are a
We
bit.
won't watch them then.
No, they can get a bit dirty, but it's mostly like violence and.
I've
stuff.
always thought what I'd like to do if I had some people that were annoying me, and I wanted to get rid of them. First of all, I would go out and I would buy about 100 black and white photos of nuns from the 1940s and 50s. And then I would get them framed, and then I would go to my living room and I'd put them all up and then invite that person around for tea and see what their reaction would be.
Wow.
There's something.
That's what you do to the people you really don't like.
Yeah. So I think there's a script there.
Yeah.
There's a script anywhere.
Well, all of the screenwriters listening now, they're just going to take that idea and roll with it.
I think somebody's going to say, has Phil got rights to that treatment? Or does Phil actually need the right treatment?
Yeah, you do need treatment.
So I think that's about. You see, it's such a weird and wonderful film that there's so many wacky parts to it.
Yeah.
I think the visuals were really great of it, as in all the poppy colours.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because they used a lot of
Painted
paintings.
screens.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Again,
a lot
like
of the
Star
backgrounds
Wars.
would just be painted screens.
In Star Wars, they used a lot of.
I liked how the
paintings.
piano at melody.
Yeah, I did like that.
I've never seen a piano eat somebody,
No.
but it did.
It did.
Yeah. We didn't talk about Snowy.
Oh, yeah. The evil cat.
Yeah, the evil cat.
Yeah.
You remember Snowy, don't you?
Of course I remember Snowy.
And it was all Snowy's fault, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Snowy had those green light up eyes.
Yeah. Like, and they say that a witch's cat, any cat can open a door, but only a witch's cat can close the door behind it.
Do you think Snowy was related to Dr. Evil's cat?
Mr. Bigglesworth.
Mr. Bigglesworth.
I think they're related.
Mr. Bigglesworth.
Maybe that's it wouldn't be the same cat because he'd be dead by now, wouldn't he?
Absolutely.
Also,
In
completely
Japan.
completely different breed of cat.
And continent.
Really?
Do you know, Mr. Bigglesworth had no hair.
Oh, yeah, he was a hairless cat.
He was a hairless cat.
But when didn't he start off with hair?
No. I don't know.
Because
Are you thinking of
Oh no! Wait a
Dr.
minute. I'm
No?
thinking.
No.
Yeah,
because you know it's a spoof.
Blofeld's cat.
It's a spoof of James Bond.
Yeah, was it Goldfinger or Blofeld's or whatever
I don't know.
cat it was?
It was cute.
It was cute and scary.
It
So
made
we
me
have-
want a cat.
So we now need to know whether or not this was a painless exercise for you, Amelia Coen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your first episode on the podcast.
She's thinking. She's
What, do you want
looking
me
left
to,
of screen.
to rate it, or do you just want
No,
feedback?
just was it painless?
Yeah, I think so.
Now, don't ask the audience that, because
Yeah.
they might look at us and go, "You think that was painless?"
I'm not sure there is much of an audience at this
No,
point.
I don't think. I think we might have lost them after the nuns.
Yeah, when we completely talked about nuns for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
but for those of you that are still with us,
thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we've got a few more films that we watched, you and I.
We have, yeah. So this is a bit of an insight into what's coming next.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about? Shall I mention them, or
Well, there was two particular good films that we watched.
and what about the other one? I'll just mention them because I'll jog your memory. Okay.
Go on.
So obviously this was our first Japanese film that we've
Yes.
spoken about, but we actually watched.
Oh, wait a minute. Of course.
We actually watched another Japanese film
Which was
the night
brilliant.
before. Yeah, we watched Tokyo Drifter,
Which I thought was brilliant.
directed by Seijun Suzuki. It's like a Yakuza film, isn't it?
Yeah. And that was really good. So we'll be talking about
So we're going to
that.
talk about that. We watched another French film called Madame de.
Oh, which was really good.
It's also known as The Earrings of Madame de.
And we nearly had something like that in our house because Mum lost her earrings and they've now come back.
yeah, Dad put them in the bin.
Yeah.
I didn't. It's not my fault.
Somebody put them in the bin.
And
I've
then,
been framed. Me and OJ.
gosh. And then we watched a Polish film.
Oh, that was lovely.
We watched the first episode, the first part of the Decalogue.
So we will be talking, amongst other films, about those three over the coming
yeah.
week or so.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
But for now, thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for
this was
having me.
episode 6, I think.
Enjoy.
Episode 6 of a never-ending series.
Who knows whether I'll ever be back again?
I don't. Yeah.
Will I be invited?
If you want Amelia to come back on the podcast, give us a like and share and subscribe.
Yeah, and comment.
I have to be honest with you.
Subscribe.
I have to be honest with you, Amelia. We did this tonight because we needed to work out the lighting for when Scarlett Johansson comes in next week.
Obviously.
Exactly.
There we go. Listen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We'll be back very soon.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
That's it. There's no more. Bye.
Goodbye.